Welcome to the Old-Fashioned Three. They've been around basketball from the Big Dipper to the Greek Freak, from Russell Celtics to Curry's Warriors, from Peach Baskets to Paolo Banchero. Here are Whitey Gleason, Phantom, and Jerry Reynolds.
Yes, that was that cat, all right.
You gonna be all right, Jer? Jer was just watching, the open of the show, and he's just shaking his head, saying that bleepity bleep Jim Peterson gets me every time.
He just got backdoored there by AC Green twice in a row. It's
I don't hear that every day.
And then looking around for help.
Yeah.
Next time I see Jim, he does a great job with on the Timberwolves broadcast, but I'm going to say, Jim, Jesus Christ. You got us in a hole there, buddy.
You think he remembers that particular time? I don't think he does.
I don't think he does.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
No.
Defense was an issue for the Kings last night as well, was it not?
It sure was, boy. I mean, they were almost as bad on defense as they were on offense, really. I mean, I thought their offense and poor Domantas Sabonis was by far the worst he's been with the Kings and maybe in his career. I thought just fumbling the ball and turnovers and just
there's been no greater champion of Domantas Sabonis than Jerry
this guy
year.
here, yeah.
But I think if I'm keeping track, I think that's 3 games in a row now for Sabonis where Jerry has said, it wasn't at his best.
Well, 2's for sure, where he's really been I think a detriment, almost a negative. Now one was that triple-double, but he still wasn't effective in my mind. But it's really it's troubling. I mean I think teams are scouting for him. I think that's a big part of it, and I understand that. He's clearly the hub of the offense, and so they're trying to, they're doubling him pretty quick on catch in a lot of situations, and he's got to make decisions quicker. That's all it is. It's like a quarterback being, get the ball out.
Exactly. I was just going to say that to you. Yeah. Like the pass rush was coming last night.
Yeah.
The good thing is the rest of the country won't realize he's had a couple of down games for another week or two.
Oh, yeah.
So the All-Star selections will be all taken care of in that. So that will
country.
catch
How
up.
about the area? I mean, did anyone see the whole game last night?
I heard reports of it. Yeah, I heard reports of
What?
a not so good performance. And we talked a couple of weeks ago about disappointing teams, and I mentioned the Raptors. And I'm not really disappointed by the loss, but not really surprised by it as far as the Raptors, because as we talked about the Hawks a couple of shows ago, the Raptors put a really good team out on the floor, and they're capable of doing that every night.
Yeah, they should. I mean, they shouldn't be where they are. I mean, they're talent-wise. I mean, there's several of those guys played on a world champion. I mean,
that's right. Not so long ago,
Not so long ago, and the coach,
he's a good one,
really good coach, and we saw examples of that last night with his zone and matchup principles and everything. I thought, they should be better. I mean,
which was astutely pointed out on the telecast. Toronto's effectiveness with their zone, by the way. I would say that.
Yes. You have to go ahead because they didn't. When they don't mention it, you point that out. So good job by you, fair and balanced.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, and I think that's the thing. I mean, if you're really going to have any credibility in basketball, you better listen to Whitey a little bit.
Oh, is that a thing now?
It is.
Okay, I wasn't aware that was a thing.
Yeah, there'll be T-shirts, free Whitey.
Yeah.
I don't want one of those shirts.
No, that's not going to be popular.
No, I don't know if that's the shirt that we're going to put out there. No.
Katie mentioned some last night in the fourth quarter. I think it was the key to the game, or one of the keys. If you look at a box score, it seems to me there's always an NBA box score. There's always at least one thing that just jumps out at you.
Yes, there
was. It might be, wow, that guy was great, or that's unusual. How about this? Field goal attempts last night.
Yes.
Toronto Raptors took 97 shots, 97 field goal attempts. Mm-hmm. Sacramento, and keep in mind, the league average is 88.2.
Okay.
That's the average for the league this year. The Kings are actually a little below that. Their average is 87.4 attempts. Last night, 73 attempts for Sacramento,
That's
Jerry.
the thing that jumps out at you, Jerry.
What the heck?
No doubt about it.
If you turn it over every time, you really don't get to shoot much. And then
now that's the T-shirt. I like that. Yeah.
And then, of course, if you can't rebound the ball on the defensive board, you lose some other opportunities.
Because defense doesn't end until you get the ball, right?
You get the ball. So, it was. That's a great stat, as you said. Katie pointed that out. You knew there was a discrepancy, but you didn't know it was like that.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on that. That's always the thing with the stat sheet. There's so much of it's useless. The plus minus stuff. But I mean, there is always something
that
individual or team wise that you look at and say, oh, this is what. causing us trouble here.
Yeah.
You know, this and this type thing.
Yeah, two games in a row. The turnovers total right around 45 in the two games, so that jumps out at you. De'Aaron Fox minus 30 in 30 minutes, and I think if I read it right, Davion Mitchell actually was a plus. So maybe we should have played him more.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about plus minus.
Yeah. I'd prefer not. No.
Okay, well,
not on one game. I just it's just what it is.
Well, it is what it is. Yeah.
But to your point about Davion playing more, I'd say I think that would be a fair statement.
But it is true that the bench, again, we thought Malik Monk maybe got the recovery game last game because he almost had the triple-double, and then he wasn't real successful again. Actually, none of them were, obviously, off the bench. But, I mean, he's the guy that I really fixate on it. I know Lyles can come up too, but Malik Monk's the guy. I mean, we're talking a couple of weeks ago, Sixth Man of the Year, getting votes, getting consideration, and lately he's been so down, and then we were excited about the game last time.
You were wearing the Band-Aid?
I had the Band-Aid.
Somehow cut yourself shaving?
Well, I needed the Band-Aid. I wear several Band-Aids usually, yeah.
Well, I'm not handy.
But I did see when Malik is firing off the bench, and he wasn't last night.
Well, I was comparing him with Bobby Jackson. I'm sorry, Bobby, if you're watching. I mean,
which you should be, Bobby.
I mean, I was a little bit quick on the trigger.
A little premature on that?
Little premature on that, yeah.
I think if you look at the game last night, the takeaway for most people is probably, wow, the Kings got rolled last night. But there was, in the fourth quarter, there's like 6 minutes left. They're down 12.
Okay.
When Herter made a really tough shot. You're down 12 at home with 6 minutes to go. In the NBA, that's not a terrible spot to be in. Now, you don't want to be down 12.
It's not good.
Yeah, but then they gave up a couple easy baskets. Then they cut it to 12 again, 4.5 minutes to go. So they had their chances, but they could not get anything going, really. They couldn't get any stops, which, of course, when you're coming back, you got to get stops. And like you said, one of the keys is they just cut off, Toronto did, the Kings' offense right at the source. You run the offense through Sabonis, and that wasn't happening last night because he was, every time he touched the ball, it was just arms and legs and all kinds of body parts in his face.
There was, yeah. Not all body parts, but there was quite a few.
Many body parts.
I embellished a little there.
Yeah.
I embellished a little.
I got it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
They cut off the head of the snake.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
They did. And Kings, really, I think it's probably, in some ways, it can be a nice opportunity for the Kings to say, okay, this is what we want to do, but when we can't do this, we've got to have plan B, and I think, at least so far, we don't see a plan B. And there'll be a time when, okay, you if Sabonis is going to draw doubles, and maybe draw him down to the low post and clear space out on the perimeter.
I thought they played Metu too much last night when the offense was struggling. Just me, because he.
All right.
You have him on the floor with Davion, and it's like, hello, you got to score some
I
points.
just don't understand why Richaun Holmes, who plays pretty well every time he plays, seems like you don't know if he's ever going to play. I don't quite get it. I think last night was a great opportunity to play him quite a bit, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's the question, though. If you're trying to find a silver lining, right? That's a bad loss for the Kings. I know that Toronto's 22 and 27 now.
Yeah.
You're home against a team that's under 500 and they beat you, but could other teams do what Toronto did? Other teams will try. It seems to me that was an especially bad matchup for the Kings because Toronto really does the things well that the Kings struggle with. I mean, Toronto's number one at taking care of the basketball in the league, and they force the most turnovers. So that was, in some ways, even though Toronto struggles with their record this year, they're better than that. It was a bad matchup for the Kings, right?
Well, it sure seemed to be, and I do. I think they're, uniqueness athletically, long, athletic guys, not very height-wise, but very quick. And I think quickness and length bothers the Kings more than size. And some teams, they don't have that opportunity. They may be better teams than Toronto, but they've got how they play.
Yeah, they're going to try
That's
to
what
do
I
this.
thought, Mr. Basketball.
Well, they'll try to do the same formula again, but they're not as good at it, perhaps, as the Raptors. But like you say, quickness and length affect them more than size because the Kings predicated on moving the ball so much. They want to keep the ball moving, as we talked about last time. You keep moving the ball until you get the guy with the best shot. And if at the head of the snake, if Sabonis can't get that started, that really affects the Kings. And I'm sure you're right, Jerry, as far as they're going to go, what do we got to do? We got to do something about that when that happens. And also, when that happens and when you bog down, that's when your second unit comes in and maybe gives you a couple of options. And the Kings just didn't do that yesterday.
No, that I think, too, with double teams, with Sabonis, it's different because he's looking to make the assisted basket pass. Well, you know, you don't have time now. You know, it's like doubling Elijah one. Well, he was looking to score, and so you had to double him quick to keep him from scoring.
Right.
Well, with Sabonis, he's not really looking to score, but he's still holding the ball too long once he's doubled. And, you know, once that double team is set, you really can't be I mean, you just got to find somebody. And, of course, the key is that second man's coming. Move the ball.
You made that point
wherever you can.
We
just move the ball.
And I thought of that last night, the point that you made, because there was a play, I think in the fourth quarter, Sabonis had the ball at the foul line, and he was open, but he was a little reluctant to shoot. He ended up throwing a lob for Metu that was broken up. It's like, just shoot the 15-footer.
Shoot the 15-footer. Or you get in the, you know, he's driving into paint. Now, you know, maybe he can't make the shot, but, you know, he's leaving his feet and then trying to find somebody, and he's 3 foot in the basket.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, how about a little hook
Coach
there?
Stevenson used to tell me, if you leave your feet to make a pass, run a practice lap. He said, do that on your own.
Is that what he did?
I never did.
No, he wouldn't. And then he would go out to the golf course all the time. Best dressed coach I ever saw. This guy was fantastic.
Yeah.
But when you talk about pass up a 15-footer, it takes me ahead about 2 hours last night to watching our boy Ben Simmons play. And he literally got the ball on the block, no one around him, and didn't even turn around to look and just pass it out to a guy for a three-pointer. And he had a decent game. His third quarter was really good last night. But then they couldn't play him. They couldn't play him in the fourth quarter because of, you know, him collapsing on the floor at the same time.
People were very mean to him last night.
They were mean to him last night, which you knew was going to happen. And the first half, he looked so scared out there. And to his credit, he came out in the third quarter, and I think he had 8 or 10 points in the third quarter, all on drives. And I think he goes up for his hook shot, and he has no idea what hand he's going to use until he actually lets it go.
That's why he used one left hand.
He goes, I think I'll go this way. But to his credit, he had a decent third quarter. But then you go, well, this guy helped bring you back to whatever you were. You can't play him in the fourth quarter. You can't have a star that you can't play in the fourth quarter. It's embarrassing.
It really is tough. I mean, you know, even after the 2 minutes is up, you know, I mean, it made it a little easier, but
because you can't hack whoever then.
Yeah.
Well, he and Claxton together. Claxton's free throws, and Claxton had a tremendous game last night.
Claxton's really good.
But his free throw, I mean, you look at his free throw motion, and you go, come here.
Never look directly at it. You should never look directly at one of his
You want him to come over to one of the side courts. You and I can work on this for a while. For a while, anyway. But, he had a great game last night.
No, it's a shame.
Those two guys,
I mean, he could drop kick as many in as he's trying to shoot in.
Yes, and I would like to see that. That would be incredibly entertaining.
I mean, boom.
Rick Barry would say, granny style, baby.
Yeah, probably be right. Yeah. If you want to dedicate the effort to it and also ignore everybody making fun of you when you shoot it, that's a great way to do it. And he's, as you say, Ben's the object of some ridicule already.
That was almost an historic night for Brooklyn because I think they had the second highest field goal percentage in a game for any team that's ever lost.
Yeah. When the third quarter was like 14 they were shooting 77% in the quarter, and you're like, well, and you're still losing because they couldn't stop anybody.
That's the NBA this year.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it really is it's an offensive game today. I mean, the defense, you know, to me, it's like the NFL. I mean, all the rules went to benefit the offense. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for the most part, I enjoy it. But you know, it's a lot of cheap points. I mean, there really is.
Unfortunately, the Kings didn't get any of them.
They didn't get any.
They gave up 113.
How many free throws
That's
in that
basically
game
what they usually give up, a little bit more maybe, but they weren't anywhere near what they usually score.
20 free throws in the whole game. In the whole game. 13 for the Kings and 7 for Toronto.
And yet, every time you go on Twitter after the game, the Kings Twitter blames the referees every time.
I know.
It
gets old,
they've lost, 19 games, 20 games? Every game was the ref's fault, if you look at Twitter. Every game.
I tell you what, tough to blame the refs for that one, wasn't it?
I think so.
I mean,
they still managed, Jerry.
I mean, I think, you know, the Kings could have called their own and they still gotten beat last night.
Oh, I'd like to see that. Now, they should do that once a year. Mm-hmm. Call your own fouls. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, can you imagine Luka playing that game?
Well, it's a wonder. It's a wonder that the league doesn't do that, you know, because
some say they do.
They bend over backwards to the players so much. Well, won't you guys just call your own?
You know what? I bet you in a few years they'll do that.
I bet they'll try
in the All-Star game. You hear how that? You know who's on which team in the All-Star game this year? You know how they're deciding that? I think they're deciding it like at the day of the game.
At the day of the game, like
the guys are picking
like recess.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're picking 12 on each conference, and then you get to the game, and the only two guys are on what team are the captains, right?
Yes.
The ones who get the most votes. And it's like, okay, line up over there. And then it's even more embarrassing. See,
Somebody's going to be last.
In the past, they didn't want to do that because somebody would be last, and now it's going to be right out for everybody to see. Okay, Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, perhaps. It would be great. I mean, that's awesome. But that is an odd way of doing it. You'd think somebody's agent would go, I don't want him to do it that way because my guy might be last.
All-star games are dying. The Pro Bowl is going away.
You really, because it's a flag football
you don't
game.
really need all-star games.
If they don't do it the way I tell them, like me and Mike Wilbon on it,
You and Wilbon?
U.S. against the world?
U.S. against the world.
Gotcha.
That would create absolutely an interesting game.
And it might start a war.
And a competitive game. And I don't think it'd start a war.
No,
Then you'd have to have 12 Americans and 12 world players on it, and then you'd have the 13th American player who needs the money, the All-Star money as a bonus. He gets $500,000 if he makes the All-Star team, gets edged out because some guy in the world team who's not quite as good, but they need 12 guys. It's a
Why is he
headache
trying
to
to find flaws in your plans?
Well, that's not much
'Cause
of a
I know
flaw
how-
because it's easy to find 12 foreign players that are deserving, and maybe less so with Americans.
Well, you don't get them all almost from Canada now. Get them all from Canada.
Yeah, I was going to say people forget that a couple of the best ones are from Canada.
That's right,
Gilgeous Alexander and
Trey Lyles, right? And Wiggins are.
We're not putting
Wiggins,
Trey up there
but
either.
I wouldn't. Of course, Wiggins didn't have an All-Star game.
No, he's not.
Year this
How about
year.
this upcoming road trip for the Kings? You got 7 games, but you got 2 of them are Minnesota, 2 of them are Houston, 1 of them is San Antonio. Phantom, the old Texas Triangle ain't what it used to be, is it?
No, true, but Minnesota just got a big win. They went to New Orleans and beat the Pelicans, so they're not quite as good, I don't think, as Toronto, but they've got a bunch of guys they can trot out
They're
there,
500 now.
especially at home, and they are picking it up a little bit. So I think that's a dangerous 2-game series right there.
Well, you hope to get one, really. I mean, I think if you get one, you'd feel pretty good.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with Houston, you just got to get them. And that's all there is to that.
Yeah.
And San Antonio too, yeah.
San
you kinda
Antonio,
basically,
too.
so we
So
got to
get those games and split with Minnesota. And then who's the other one?
I think that I have to double check. Maybe we
Well,
can
that's
check
the thing,
other team.
though,
I just
with-
looked at it today, and I apologize.
with
It's
my
slipped
heightened
mind.
expectations. All of a sudden, the Kings go off on a 7-game road trip, and in the old days, if we can get 2, we'd be happy. We can get 3. Now I want to go 5-2, because as far as, last night, everybody ahead of them lost. And you say, well, that's a great time to pick one up. They couldn't pick one up, and here come the Lakers, and here come the Warriors. I know they're far back, but they're starting to look a lot better. And the Lakers got a big win last night. So I worry.
Yeah.
When you set the expectations high, Jerry, everything,
Oh, no question. And, the good news is the Kings are one of the 5 or 6 teams with a winning road record.
Yes.
Now, that's the good news.
That's very good.
Here's the bad news. They've
geez.
played 7 less road games than they have home games. And
Okay.
As opposed to some of the teams trying to catch them, like the Clippers and different ones, it's just almost the reversed. And common sense and history tells you that these things have a way of working themselves out. That it's very difficult to have a winning record on the road. Now we hope they continue to do that.
That would be nice if they could. And the
because
other thing
they haven't been nearly as good at home as you would expect either.
the other thing that worries you is those teams you mentioned almost are like they're getting guys like Kawhi's coming back, and everybody's getting. Anthony Davis came back last night, so they're retooling to come after you at a time where you're more vulnerable.
Do you have it? The other teams on their road trip? Yeah. Okay.
Show it to them. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the box score for the. Yeah.
I hit it with my hand.
Oh, okay.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically,
It's not that
sometimes,
important. I apologize. I should know. I just looked it up today.
It's only episode 26 or
It
something.
is.
We got to work on things. Yeah.
Slipped my mind.
It's okay. It
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kings and Timberwolves.
Oh yeah, we got
Couple with the
Kings
Timberwolves,
right? Yeah. Kings of Timberwolves. Kings of Timberwolves.
Then go up to the top and hit February.
Hit the next month.
Next month, February. Here we
Yes.
go. Kings Spurs. Kings Pacers. Kings Pelicans. There you go. Those are the.
Okay, well,
So games
Thank you.
important
My
games for the
apologies.
Pelicans. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
Pelicans.
Zion won't be back now. Ingram is back now because he played.
He played last night or the night
some-
before. Yeah.
some
very,
minutes.
very. He struggled, but
yeah,
you
he
got to
played.
assume that's going to happen.
So
yeah.
he'll probably get
Yeah.
back sharp pretty quick. So
Yeah. So
you're
there's
still
another
catching.
guy. Yeah.
Pacers, whether Halliburton will be back or not. So they haven't been nearly as good. I think they're 1-7 without him. and so you might be catching them right.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting atmosphere for that Pelicans game. It'll be a nice playoff type atmosphere, you think? Because
Do the Pelicans know they're in the race?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times the fans don't know.
Yeah, I think they were, for a while, it looked like they would be where the Grizzlies are, I mean, that was, when they were healthy, very healthy team for 3 games or something, 5 games. So, there's a lot of road out there. I mean, the Kings on this trip certainly have a chance to have a good road record. I mean, they're not playing every team they play is beatable, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
I heard someone today say that the Warriors are, the Lakers are 13th, but they're like 2 games out of 6th.
Yeah.
So right now they wouldn't
very
even
bunched.
be in the play-in,
Right.
but they're only 2 games out of being on
Right.
the other side of the
All
play-in
they
where they
need
don't
is-
have to worry about it, which just tells you how compacted it
5-game
is.
winning streak
So
for them, and they're in it. Yeah.
Huge win for the Warriors last night over the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And they avoided a real embarrassing situation by winning that game because Steph Curry got thrown out because he was so mad at one of his teammates taking a bad shot.
Yeah, and I watched that. I didn't see it live, so I watched it on the highlights. Oh, he got ejected. Wow. Then I saw it, and I go, I think he should have been ejected. I mean, he just took it. He took the mouthpiece and just flung it, like not up in the air, but right at the, under the basket at the end line there.
Well, it's one of those rules that if you throw something into the crowd, you're gone. So basically, he was mad, and it wasn't a matter of did he throw it at the referee.
No.
He threw something, and it went into the crowd. So technically, it's like whoever was that threw him, I was like, you're gone. That's a rule.
Yeah.
And you know why he was mad? He was mad.
Was it Poole?
Yes,
Yes.
because they're up 2 with 1:20 to play. They get the offensive rebound, so it's time for a reset. Right? They're up 2 against Memphis.
Sure.
It's been a big rally, and then so DiVincenzo gets a rebound and throws it to Poole's like 30 feet from the basket. All right, the shot clock resets. Steph Curry's standing right there like this, and Poole just lets it fly way off, and Grizzlies get the rebound, and Steph comes down and just. Ugh, and
It's just an odd reaction, though.
gone.
It's just an odd reaction. You're running like, what am I going to do to show my anger? I'll take my mouthpiece out and throw it really
Not the
hard.
first time he's done that.
No,
you
not
know.
the first time, but in that manner it was. And I think Poole, as he's shooting, went, punch me in the mouth, will you? And he let the ball go. I mean, that's unconfirmed, but that's what I think he said. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's still mad about Draymond. I'll just tell you.
But why would he take? I don't know. Why would he take that bad shot?
Sometimes
Anyway.
you can't explain the human mind.
Yeah. So they win the game, and Poole actually scores the game winner on a pass from Draymond on an
Yeah,
inbounds
there
pass
you go.
with a second to go. So fortunately for that, it's a big win for them, but it avoids some embarrassment because if they'd lost that game, that'd be the story of the game. It's just some weird things still going on with the Warriors, but a huge win.
Yeah, it really is. With Steph, I mean, of course, why does he even have a mouthpiece? Why don't you just go?
That's the crux of the problem.
It really
right
is.
there.
I mean, he never puts it in his
Nobody else
mouth.
has it. Yeah. All he does is throw it.
Well, or chew on it.
Chew on
Well,
it when he shoots free
Chew and
throws.
throw. Both are bad habits.
I mean, I'd say they have chewing gum you can buy and chew.
In Big
It's
League Chew,
available.
I think that's still
So
around.
he can
Certainly
do that.
available to him.
Available to him.
Actually get his
So-
own line if he wants. Yeah.
So yeah, well, I think
Do you have Warrior fatigue? It seems like you do. A little
I
bit this
do
year.
a little bit, and like I say, as much as I've respected Steph and the team over the years, because they've been remarkable and all, but it does seem like with kind of Clay's pouting a little bit at times this year. You got the Poole Draymond thing. Steph thinks he's a cheerleader when he's
That
running
really
up and down the
imprinted on you.
floor, and
You're
then
not gonna forget that.
and then now every time he makes a basket, he's got to make some sort of a gesture, make a big deal of it. It's
Like he's never made a basket
Yeah, it's like
before.
you're Steph
You've
Curry.
made a lot of baskets.
Yeah,
Steph.
you're Steph Curry.
We know you're
You
really
don't-
good.
You didn't do all this 2 or 3 years ago. You just
If
really,
Looney wants to do that, okay.
yeah,
But
who
you're
cares?
Steph Curry.
You're
yeah.
Steph Curry.
Do you know why he was so demonstrative cheering on his teammates? It doesn't make it right. I understand you have a problem with it, but I think this speaks to another thing that's been going on with the Warriors. Earlier in the year, when they were struggling, there seemed to be a disconnect between the veterans and the young guys who would be on the bench, and they'd be like not happy that they weren't playing. And people would say, like, what's wrong with the guys on the bench? Last year, like Toscano Anderson, those guys, they were going crazy.
Peyton
and the young guys are more like, I'm not playing. So it's possible that Steph was trying to show the young guys, look, I'm freaking Steph Curry, and I'm excited about cheering on my teammates. So that might have been part of the reason behind that. Because, again, that's been another issue with that team.
Well, probably not it, but
Well, it could have,
Always good
could
to
have
look over
something
the
to do
bench
with
and
it.
see your team pouting over there because
Yeah.
they're not playing.
Yeah.
Hey, gosh.
I'll tell you what, watching Memphis last night and the way they had a lead and then you force them into the half court, things slowed down. I don't know about that team as a champion.
Oh no, I don't see them as a champion. I mean, that's one of the things. To me, you look at the West. Other than Denver, right now, who could you say would be a nice challenge for whoever comes out of the East?
I know who he's going to say.
And I think whoever comes out of the East, it's so much better that they may be beat up and worn out so bad that whoever comes out of the West could beat them. But I mean, to say that the West is even comparable to the East, I think is foolish at this point.
Yeah, I know Steven Adams didn't play last night.
Yeah, Adams didn't play.
And I know they're very talented, but when when they get out, the Warriors had like 20 turnovers in the first half or something like something terrible. Maybe it was around 15.
Yeah, it would
and
be
then,
20.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it was.
come
They ended up
on.
with. Yeah, whatever it was. It was a lot in the first half. I think it was 13 or 14.
Now we have 20 to 14.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little different. Yeah,
Yeah. So the Grizzlies, then they feast off that. And then when you force them into the half court and they start slowing it down because they got the lead, they're just not as effective.
No, they're not. I mean, they are definitely a team that needs to play off their defense. I mean, generally they're pretty good defensively, and they turn you over and get out and run. And, of course, Adams controls the middle when he plays, but he's not playing, and they do miss him. And John Morant, to me, is great, terrific as he is. He's gotten a little bit of what we talk about Steph, but it's all highlight all the time. It's like, well, you really can't do that all the time.
Yeah, he needs a space. He needs space to be able to operate.
Yeah.
He doesn't make his own space as much as some of the other guys. Like if you look at the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George, they can make their own space, and LeBron too. I mean, some of these guys that in the half-court game, they're better suited to it, and John Morant needs to get out. He needs to get out and go, and they're not as much getting out and going.
Yeah,
in the
first
playoffs.
traffic in the paint,
Yeah.
which in the half court there generally is.
Yeah.
And now he can make some spectacular plays, and he does. My thinking is he's always tries to make too many of them.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't care how good you are. You're going in there and flying around and
Yeah.
moving the ball around. And
You worry about when he comes down all the time.
Yeah.
You worry about when he comes down.
So anyway, I agree with your stance. I don't see them as a championship contender. They could be certainly a Western Conference contender, but
I think they've kind of hit their ceiling. They were an up-and-coming team. It's like, wow, watch out for the Grizzlies. Have you seen them? And right now it's kind of like, yeah, they might be as good as they're going to get unless they do something. By the way, the number that jumps out to me about that box score last night, Santi Aldama was 7 for 7, including 2 for 2 on threes.
he's not a bad player.
No,
I mean,
7 for 7, yeah.
No, he's a pretty nice, nice, active, lively big man that
Yep.
can go out on the
Spread
floor.
the floor,
Yeah, nice find, I think, by them.
Spread the floor so he gets more space for John Morant.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
I love watching them. They're fun to watch. Just, I don't know, as a championship caliber team. And, Ja famously said, we ain't worried about the West. It's like,
Yeah,
well, you probably should.
That's a little bit, yeah. And that's the other thing. Last night they were talking on ESPN. It's Rivals Week and stuff, and hey, we got the Warriors and the Grizzlies. Are they rivals now? I mean, I know they played before, but they're not really rivals. If you got the Lakers and Celtics, okay, I'll buy that. But Warriors and Grizzlies, I'm not going that far.
Well, I think you could see it from the Grizzlies' point of view. It's like,
Well, they want to get
because
there.
the Warriors are the world champs, so everybody, Warriors have been so good for so long, regardless of what's happened, and they'll get everybody's best effort.
Yeah, but the Grizzlies, you don't think of them in any rivalry.
They really don't
Grizzlies,
like each other,
Pelicans.
which is part of the rivalry. But, yeah.
It's got to get going a little bit.
I think last year Dylan Brooks even talked about the Grizzlies dynasty.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, dynasty.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Exactly what you think it means. Exactly.
We've won over 40 games for 2 straight years.
We made
3
the
straight years.
playoffs 2 years in a row, mister. That's a dynasty, a playoff dynasty.
Yeah. Speaking of the Warriors, as we were, I know that we're going to start something here. I like to start here if you guys are okay with Jerry's comp this. And Jerry gave us, after the last show, so it wasn't on, Jerry gave us a player. And the assignment is, and I think today you'll give us a player on the show, but we're supposed to come up with a comp, a past player, in this case a past player what's the matter?
No, he came up with a current player.
He came up with a current player.
Yeah.
We're supposed to come up with a past.
I'm still thinking. I still haven't figured it. It's been 48 hours on
So
it
who's
already.
the player? What's the assignment, Coach?
I don't know.
Oh, it's Clay.
Clay Thompson.
Oh, Clay Thompson.
Yeah, right? Remember?
Maybe we should have written it down and then let Jerry open it on the
That's
show.
what you gave
Yeah.
it. Do you remember you said? Yeah.
No, I really don't.
Oh, okay. All right. He
I'll
did have a
take-
sleeping pill last
That's
night.
why I
was
respect
gonna
him
say,
so much.
Once you
Yeah.
take a sleeping pill,
Yeah.
everything is erased
Yes.
from
Yeah.
24
Yes.
hours.
So we're supposed to come up with a past player, and Jerry is the judge. It's his deal here.
Yeah.
Who Klay Thompson?
Klay Thompson. This is really difficult. I mean, it really is, because I'm trying to figure out Klay Thompson from the physical standpoint. 6'6", 6'7", a shooting guard, kind of a small forward shooting guard, and I'm trying to get somebody comparable to him. And the first guy, I'm going to name a bunch of guys, Jerry.
Oh,
so,
great!
Yeah. So I this is fun. I had fun with this. So I'm going through history, trying to remember guys and everything. The first guy that occurred to me, similar style and stature stuff, was Rolando Blackman from the Dallas Mavericks, about a 6'6" shooting guard. Not quite as good as Klay Thompson, but a lot of the same similarities as Klay. But with Klay, you also have to remember the defensive component, and that's really tough to do. So also Klay Thompson's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. So I got to kind of try to get a Hall of Famer for Klay Thompson. So then I go into the Hall of Fame and I look around the Hall of Fame. I know who you want me to say, and I'm not going to say that guy, but I go into the Hall of Fame, and
I just want you to finish.
I'm just getting started. Ray Allen.
Ray Allen. All right, very good. Yeah, and you said I'm kidding. If you
I
had
just
another one,
if I try to go by a great offensive player, great shooter, but also a great defensive player who has his game is predicated on always moving. The comp that I came up with, but you can't comp him because he's too good, is Jerry West. Because I think he plays kind of the same kind of game as Jerry West, and you're always telling us how people don't recognize how athletic Jerry West was and everything. You see him just as a jump shooter, but he was so much more than that, and a great defensive player.
He was a combo guard too.
So I think Klay Thompson's not comparable because it's not Jerry West, but that's kind of the Jerry West 3.0 maybe would be Klay Thompson. But if I'm going with straight across, I think I have to go with Ray Allen.
Yeah. They played at the same time too. Right?
Well, yeah, but I go with Rolando Blackman if you want me to.
Okay.
That's fine.
I like Rolando Blackman. I think he's a better defender than maybe he's given credit for.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's too far off. He's not a Hall of Famer, but we don't know for sure if Clay's going to be either.
Well, Rolando is a 4-time All-Star and everything, and I loved watching him he was one of the Mavericks guys I liked. A lot of those Mavericks guys in those times, oh, man.
Well, they played
such
Harper.
Aguirre and Harper. And, of course, James Donaldson was local, so I had to like him.
I got three guys, and I'll try to make it a little quick. I got a guy from the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Oh, my goodness.
And it is tough. To your point, he's such a good shooter, great shooter, all-time great shooter, but such a good defender. And it's hard to find a guy who fits.
Yeah, because in the 70s and 80s, shooters were different.
70s, I got a great shooter, but he wasn't quite as big and not the defender, but downtown Freddie Brown. Such a great shooter, such a great three-point shooter. 80s, the guy who really, when people say Klay Thompson, who's it remind you of? To me, it's this guy because they were both so square, straight, beautiful form, and both great shooters. This guy was not the defender, Klay was, but Dale Ellis to me, 6'7", I think. Yeah, that's to me, that in my mind, that's the number one. But then 90s, great defensively, good shooter. Dan Marley. So those would be my three. But if I had to go one,
Dan Marley.
Yeah, if I had to go one, about him, I would go Dale Ellis.
No, those are all good. I mean, I don't.
Great names.
I like Rolando and Dale Ellis. Maybe if you could.
That would be my one.
Kind of smush them. Smush them together.
I get Rolando. Yeah.
Well, it's like a guy I thought about is Jeff Hornacek. He's too small. Yeah. But I mean, he has a lot of the same, moves without the ball, catch, shoot, good defender, very smart. Of course, they played the half-court game, but I mean, just automatic shooter if you got him open a little bit. But he's 6'3" as opposed to 6'6", 6'7".
Plays
and so
that physical component.
That didn't work.
All right, so we got bragging rights at stake here, Jared. It's up to you. Who had the better comp for Klay Thompson? Yours is Rolando Blackman.
And mine's basically the same kind of
Dale
time
Ellis.
frame.
We both did a great job.
I think.
No question.
You both did a great job.
There can be only one winner.
Well, I mean, I was going to say there could be a tie, but you're right. There can only be one winner.
Congratulations, Phantom.
Well, congratulations to the guy who forgot he said it, because Klay Thompson is a tremendous start, because he was really difficult to do.
Yeah, through all that. We worked all that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have a player for us next time? And it can be a guy from the past that you want us to compare a current player to, or a current guy that you want to go
I'll go with a current one.
Okay.
Chris Middleton of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
All right. Chris Middleton.
I don't even have to worry about it because I know he'll forget it by the next show.
I will. Yeah.
So I'll just say somebody that I like, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I did say that guy."
Congratulations, Phantom. Yeah, I obviously accept
Good effort.
the
Good
ruling.
effort. Yeah. Good. You got
I
the
love
silver.
I love the sincerity there, don't you?
Yeah, I love the sincerity there. Yeah. Why did you think mine was better than his? Was it the defensive component? You
We're
think?
not going to spend the whole
I
rest
thought
of the
we
show
should
talking
talk about a
how
little
why
bit.
mine was
Hey,
better.
let's do the Jerry after show.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Well, I did think Rolando's a little better all-around player than Ellis. He's probably not quite the pure shooter,
Right.
but I just think Rolando Blackman, if anything, I mean, might have been better in a different system. I thought he was. I thought
interesting.
he was really, really good player, hard to guard.
All right.
Smart. So I thought.
Hard to guard and smart. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Just describe me. Thank you.
Yeah. I believe Dale Ellis last summer declared himself the greatest shooter ever. Seriously.
Well,
I
maybe
believe
you
he did.
better reconsider that.
No,
Jerry.
I just
that's new
I think he
information I
said,
did not have.
I was the greatest shooter of all time. But
Sounds
he was
like he's on
not,
the Grizzlies, maybe. 'Cause
Maybe.
they're-
Yeah. Wasn't.
He's awfully good. He's one of 500 guys who could say that. Although, but I think it'd be tough to get past Steph Curry.
Yes.
A couple of
it
guys
would.
waiting for you. You're going to have to beat to get to Steph Curry.
Yeah,
I think.
there's a.
Yeah.
You can say it, but
You got to prove
Speaking
it.
of great shooters here on the old-fashioned three, what did you all think of Dame Lillard last night? 60
points, yeah.
was it like 21 or 29 or something like that?
Most efficient 60-point performance
ever.
of all time, and
I
they
think
told
he
him,
said,
goes, really? Wow.
I may
didn't
not
know
make the All-Star game, and they're going to announce it tomorrow, so I'm going to go out and get 60 the night before just to show that I'm still Dame Lillard, because if he's still Dame Lillard, you obviously want him on there. What is that, his fourth 60-point game?
Yes.
I think he said he was third all-time or tied for third all-time. That's incredible.
behind Wilt Chamberlain with 70 or whatever.
100,000.
70 or 80 of them, yeah.
I think he had 30-something. Kobe was 6, and then
Kobe's
Dame. Yeah.
Kobe.
I think Dame might be tied
With
with
Jordan.
Harden.
I think Jordan has
Jordan,
four.
and Harden, I think. Anyway, yeah.
Incredible.
Third most ever. Incredible. You
really
and I were
were.
just talking a few weeks ago. I said it. I don't know if you agreed. I thought, Dame, I don't know. It looks like he's slipping a little bit.
Well,
Since
I
then,
thought so. Yeah, I
know
thought
you guys
so.
love
I
my
think he
sound
heard
effects.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we do love his sound effects, yeah.
Yeah. Really, we do without
We
those.
really, no, I enjoy that.
But do you?
Yeah, because make him think something he does is worthwhile. Yeah.
But I mean, Lillard, I thought he hadn't been himself quite, and so that's what he can do, though. That's why Portland is where they are in the situation. Is why you still got to be concerned. I mean, if he is capable of leading them to a lot of wins, he's done it.
You're saying concerned if you're another team in that conference, right? About
Yes,
them. Yeah. which
one
is-
in front of them.
Yeah.
And it also makes you.
Actually, the Warriors and Kings should
Yep.
be worried about them both.
And if you're Portland, that's the reason that you got to kind of stay all in it, because you have Dame Lillard, right?
Right.
You can't toss it in and go, we're going to tankathon, because we have Dame Lillard, so we can't do that.
Well, too, and it's like tankathon. I get so tired of that. It's like, okay, there's 4 teams clearly you ain't going to be worse than. You couldn't if you tried.
And they're going to get the 4 best
And
chances.
they're going to
yeah.
have the 4 best chances, and 3 of them are not going to get Wembanyama. I can guarantee 3 of them won't get Wembanyama.
Houston and San Antonio, and then who's other? 'Cause Orlando actually might.
Orlando's trying to make a little bit of a.
they might
well,
actually-
make a
or
little bit of-
Detroit.
Detroit
Yeah.
and Charlotte.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no, Orlando put Orlando in there.
Yeah,
Another
they're
win
playing
last
well.
night, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they beat Boston again. They always beat.
They
Boston.
just
They
beat the
always
good
they
teams
own
all the time.
Boston.
Yeah.
Boston better hope they don't get the 8th seed, because they're going to take care of them in the playoffs. I'll tell you that right now.
And the Lakers played well last night as well.
Yeah, that's a total concern to me.
It's troubling, really
I'm
troubling.
sorry to bring. I didn't want to bring it up.
No, I know.
I'd rather you hear about it here than
Yeah.
out on the street.
Just say,
somewhere.
oh, it's the Spurs. It doesn't really. It's the Spurs.
Yeah.
Come on.
But
AD played well. Rui Hachimura played well.
well, that's a good pickup for them. I think Hachimura is a good pickup. Davis stays healthy. LeBron stays healthy. Keep Westbrook in some sort of box. You know,
Keep him far away.
Just let him out occasionally. That sort of thing. I mean, talent-wise, really, you look at their team right now, and I hate saying this, but I think they're more talented than the Grizzlies.
The Lakers?
Yeah, today. Now, I don't know about
They're
tomorrow.
not as deep.
Huh?
They're not as deep.
They're not
right?
as deep. But if you just want to rank players, okay. Ja Morant, You got LeBron, and he's still probably better than Ja, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Now, who's the Grizzlies' second best? Desmond Bain. Okay, Davis is
Triple J, yeah.
is better than he is, right? So your two best players on each team, the Lakers have the two best. Now you get to the thirds and fourths. I mean, I'd even take Russell Westbrook over Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, I'm not a big Dylan Brooks guy, but I am a big Jaren Jackson guy. But he
not-
just can't stay on the floor.
Can't stay healthy.
He fouls all the time.
Yeah. They have the advantage. They do have the advantage in that spot, I think, and but maybe bench, but again, I think Hachimura is a nice pickup, and certainly Howard Thomas Bryant, has really been a nice, healthy addition here of late. So these guys are.
They got a shot.
They got a shot.
But it's all like you always say, Davis ain't going to stay healthy.
No, that's the whole thing. If you said, okay, Davis is going to stay healthy the rest of the year, I'd say, well, yeah, they're definitely going to get in the top 8. They can. There's not that much gap to be made up, but he's not. So there you go.
You going to be okay, Phantom? when LeBron finally surpasses Kareem, are you going to be all right?
A while ago, it bothered me, and I think I'm okay with it now. I think your our comment, Pat Riley's comments, kind of did a little bit to soothe
It's
the
nothing
waters.
against LeBron. It's
No,
just
it's not
Kareem,
against LeBron.
right? That
and
meant so
and
much.
For so long, people would say that and go, "Yeah, but Kareem didn't get to play until he was 22, and LeBron played when he was 18." And I don't even do that anymore. It's just wasted energy. It's like, recognize LeBron for what he's done. He'll be the greatest scorer of the most points, but I still maintain that Kareem's the greatest player of all time. But so I give LeBron his credit. He's an incredible player, but I'm still in the Kareem camp.
I'll tell you what, if I'm playing against Kareem in today's game, I'm putting him in the pick and roll, getting him out on the, he can't guard any wings in today's game.
He could do anything he wanted.
He'd probably be in drop coverage a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a chance he actually could guard
He's
some of those
75,
guys.
so yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so that would be a problem. But that's why people. I mean, you talk about they don't get to see him in his prime, but. We've talked about it before. When he was at UCLA and early on in the pros, I mean, that's people that have seen the video or the film of the the series against the Celtics '85 in there. That's not even the same guy. It's just amazing that's the person they go. Well, that's Kareem. Okay, well that guy, that guy's not the best, but. Turn back the clock 15 years, and it's just a totally different thing.
Well, that's the thing, as you pointed out. I mean, obviously he played in college and won 3 championships and
would have won 4, but
would have won 4, but he couldn't play because he's a freshman, and so that's the bottom line there. And then he comes to the NBA, improves the Bucks, I think by like 23 games.
Yeah, just a huge number his first
by
year.
his, that's what great players do, and of course. In fairness, LeBron's the same thing. He was clearly the number 1 high school player for several years, just like Jabbar was. He didn't go to college, but he came in and made the Cleveland Cavaliers, the worst team in the league, quite a bit better in his rookie year. I think about 10 or 15 games better. So
him and Ricky Davis.
Well,
Ronway Davis,
yeah, Ricky.
Ricky would fit in on the Grizzlies too, I think.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. He and Dylan Brooks would be a
need
good
that
battle.
I need that triple-double, Coach.
Yeah. Ricky
Oh,
Davis.
nowadays it doesn't even matter. I mean, everybody gets one every game.
How upside down is it that when Kareem or Lou Alcindor was in college, you couldn't play when you were a freshman, and now some of the best players, they only play college as a freshman, and then that's all they play.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it is.
No, yeah, it's just a system that doesn't benefit anybody. That's really the sad part of it. The NBA and college would both be better to come up with a deal where either 18-year-old guys are eligible coming out of high school to be drafted, and if they go to college, they have to stay 2-3 years, whatever you come up with.
Do it like baseball does it, or close to what baseball. If you get them out of high school, and if they go to college, then you have to wait 2 years, I think, before you can, or maybe 3 before you can draft them again. So I mean, obviously between
no
18
one would ever go to college then, would they?
Well, between
any of
18
the
and
good
21
players
in
would
basketball.
never
So
commit to college.
would you want to name how many guys are actually going now? I mean, to class and things of that
Oh, I'm not
nature?
saying that, but at least they go, they play it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, they
Yeah,
wear
I know.
a
Oh, I know
university.
that.
They wear a university jersey.
Yeah.
You just want to go in the huddle and go, can you guys find the library? Because none of them could. They have no idea what's on
That's
campus.
what always amazes me when you have the NCAA tournament time and you've got NBA players and they get so into it, arguing with each other about whose school was better. It's like, you were there barely 1 year. How can you tell me you're that affiliated with
They're part of the
University of
family, man.
Kentucky,
Yeah.
right? You were
Yeah.
barely there.
Barely there.
Basically
Yeah.
one quarter when you think about
They
it.
act
'cause
like I grew up there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's
I
always
became a
strange.
man there.
I took 3 classes there.
I didn't actually attend them.
I got 2 incompletes, but I took 3. So
True and true.
true and true.
True
but,
and true.
But that's what I always admired about Jordan was, he'd always wear his North Carolina trunks underneath his
Yeah, that was
uniform
cool.
and
Yeah.
practice gear and
Yeah.
stuff. And I mean, and so many I don't think I ever came across for those kind of years where he was in there at least 3 years.
Yeah.
Where those guys they all just had such loyalty to the Tar Heels. Even George Carl, George was still
He still is, yeah,
Larry
yeah.
Brown. Those guys.
Well, he would say disparaging things about Duke players, like he said something about Seth Curry.
Well,
when Seth
that's
Curry played there.
people say that's why Seth left the Kings.
Really?
Didn't want to stay here because he's getting picked on all the time by George.
Yeah.
And I think there's some truth in that, to be honest, because Seth was played pretty good here. Well, like I say, he started with the Warriors. He wasn't good enough there, and that's true. But really, about every stop he's had since,
Good player.
What a credit to him, for what he's become.
it's all
Absolutely.
credit to him because he was like Steph coming out of high school. He wasn't heavily recruited. Went to Liberty, and proved he's good. Then he went to Duke and benefited from that.
Liberty. That brings us to old-fashioned 3, A to Z.
Oh, man.
Yeah. We each sing the praises of a player who represents today's letter. It could be a great player, bad player, somebody that we just were fond of. And Stones, what's today's letter?
Letter T.
The letter T.
Did you remember that?
The
Did you remember you got a
letter-
guy?
I did.
T.
I get to,
Phantom.
there's a lot of great guys with the letter T, and we've talked about many of them during these episodes. But today it's great. It's a king. It's one of the great old kings to me. It's one of my favorites. I think he came to the Kings. He played with the Pistons for a long time. Came to the Kings. In my memory, the first ever free agent the Kings ever signed, Terry Tyler. University of Detroit. Then he played with the Pistons. Then he came to the Kings. Terry Tyler, about a 6'6", 6'7" forward,
Yeah.
and the vertical was incredible with Terry Tyler, and he became quickly a fan favorite because
Was he in the dunk contest?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Sorry.
I guess.
Yeah, well, sort of.
Let's just give away the ending, okay? Sorry. So anyway, he comes over after those years at Detroit, and that's the way he played. He just played hard, but yeah, he had the great vertical and everything. And the thing I remember, Jer, is he was the first guy I ever saw who, when he took a jump shot, he jumped too high. Remember? I mean, his jump shot, he would get all 40 inches.
He'd get up
he'd get way
lose his balance.
Yeah, and if the wind would come in, he'd be So he would.
Yeah.
His jump shot was spotty, to be fair, but he's an incredible guy on the boards and everything, and he was just a great guy to root for. And then he was, I believe, the first King ever to be in the slam dunk competition. I know Kenny Smith won one and Spud won one, but I think that was a little bit later. But the bad thing is, he got in the dunk contest, and we were so excited because Terry Tyler was representing the Kings in the dunk contest. And my memory says that he just drove into the basket like he's doing the layup line and dunked 3 times, and that was his dunk. So he didn't actually wow anybody. But what a great guy, what a great player, and it's such an easy guy to root for. A lot of those early Kings were, of course,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he was another one because he just came out there and gave you everything he had,
He sure
and he'd
did.
go up for that jump shot, and then we'd go ooh because we knew it was going to happen. It was maybe 40%, but it was Terry Tyler was tremendous. I love Terry Tyler.
That's a great
Yeah.
point, though. He did. I agree with that. He is so explosive.
He
He'd
got
there,
up so high.
where most guys just get up and get it away.
Yeah, yeah.
Before the defense reacts, but he's
Yeah.
up there over the top of them.
My memory is that he's wearing like Chucks or high tops. I mean, he was wearing shoes like they have today. His shoes probably weighed 2 pounds, but he just soared. He was a great guy in the early Kings teams. Not the first team, but he came, I think,
Great one.
the second or third.
Yeah,
team.
he was a second.
Our
second
first
year?
free agent, I think.
Yeah, well, it was a deal too. To sign Terry, they had to, and Detroit would to not match.
Oh, okay.
That's when they made the trade. Seemed like I think we transferred picks or something.
So there was a trade
we
element
flip-flop,
involved.
Yeah,
in
we
there.
flip-flop picks, which was really probably too much to give up. 'Cause,
Yeah.
because there wasn't any conditions on it.
Yeah.
So we were drafted later. Seemed like that year we drafted
Would that have been Harold's year? Or the
Harold
next year?
Presley,
Yeah.
which was like 15th or 16th instead of having the 5th or 6th pick. And so, anyway, But Joe thought it was a good move.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
great,
loved him.
Great story. Two things. One, a great story. Two, you still didn't get your glasses fixed.
No, I showed you. I'm not getting them fixed. I'm getting new ones.
I gotta ask you because I wondered this when you said it on the episode, and then Sheena was wondering the same thing when she watched because I put a clip up. You said, "Oh," I said, "Who fouled you?" And you said the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
What? Did were you vacuuming
Is this part
up
of the
your
show now?
glasses?
Is this? I thought I did my Terry Tyler, and now I'm not off the not hot seat. No, I told you I was getting up close and personal, fixing the vacuum cleaner because it doesn't have any
Fixing the vacuum cleaner.
Doesn't have any suction, and I know. Okay, you suck so much, you can. Okay, fine. But I was up close and personal, and my glasses are for farther away, so I took them off and put them on the ground so I could get up close. Took the canister off and put it
on the
down.
ground? Were you in the backyard?
No, I was in the living room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like
On the carpet.
On the carpet. That's
Yeah.
exactly on the carpet. Yeah, thanks for the help. So I put the glasses down, and I just detached the canister and put it over there.
Oh.
And I looked up later, and there's
You put it right on the
There's the
glasses.
carnage.
Wah,
Yeah,
wah,
yeah. I can't.
clunk.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
I mean, yeah.
So that's what happened. Yeah.
that's
and you're
why.
pulling it off, but it's just when you go like this or something.
Well,
they
I
start
mean,
to-
I get.
they
I
start
thought I was
kill.
going to keep steady today, but I get talking to Jerry. He gets
Well,
me so animated. It's
See, nobody can tell. From
well,
here.
no, I couldn't until Mr. Team Player over there opens his yapper.
That's almost like
yeah.
being a snitch, isn't it?
Hey, they get stitches, brother.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Let's hear who you got.
I was going to go with Laverne Jelly Tart, one of the great shooters in NBA history, but I
It's
didn't.
tremendous.
In 1959-60, before that year, no one had ever averaged 30 points a game in the NBA. Do you know who did that year? You
Jack
probably can
Twy-
guess.
Jack
In
Twyman?
60?
That's exactly right. Wilt Chamberlain did, and Jack Twyman. Jack Twyman is my pick. Jack Twyman was, along with Wilt Chamberlain, one of the first men to average 30 points a game.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a six-time All-Star. His number is retired by the Kings. And also, they made a movie about this. Unfortunately, it was a terrible movie. But when Jack Twyman's Kings or Royals teammate at the time, Maurice Stokes, he fell, hit his head on the floor. And back then, they didn't know much about head injuries, and he was violently afterwards. And they went ahead and flew somewhere. He ended up having a stroke, and he was paralyzed for the rest of his life. And
Incapacitated, yeah.
Jack Twyman took care of him, made him his legal ward, took care of him the rest of his life, organized a benefit basketball game that went on for, I think, decades, and also taught him how to communicate by blinking out letters. And eventually, when Maurice Stokes finally he learned how to type, the first thing he typed was, "Jack, how can I ever thank you?" So Jack Twyman, one of the greatest people in basketball history and an all-time great Cincinnati Royal, that's my T player.
Well, that's a good one because it's
was
really true. I mean, the guy, I remember him as a player. I mean, great shooter. Just a great shooter.
I
Kinda
remember
like-
him as a commentator, too.
Yeah,
he did
was
the
there
ABC
for a
Game of the
while.
Week for a while.
Yeah, and certainly the Stokes thing.
I remember my dad telling me about that when I was little. I was like, wow.
real humanitarian.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a good one. I think you've kind of overkicked your coverage for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
Well, I'm going to stay with the king that, it's an older king, but, most people would remember him, LaSalle Tank Thompson. Tank really, was one of those guys that had a very good career. He's the fifth pick in the draft, came out of University of Texas, high school in Cincinnati. And like a lot of fifth picks, it took him a little while to find his niche. But once he did, he was pretty good at it. I mean, as far as setting screens and defensive rebound.
He's so solid.
Man. He was about as good as there was. He was never probably better than maybe a top 10 center, 15 center, something like that. But the thing about him is he'd gladly set 100 screens and not shoot. Although I got to tell one story on him. He all of a sudden he got Eddie Johnson and those guys would kid him a little bit. Boy, you set a lot of screens, Tank. Keep doing it. Blah blah.
Eddie was
that's
loved
what,
him.
Yeah, that's what you're good at, Tank. So LaSalle got a little pissed, and he was saying, "What? We got all these plays for all these guys. Why don't you have a play for me?" I said, "Yeah, okay. We're gonna play the Pacers." So we spent the shoot around putting in a play, called it Texas, for LaSalle. And so we spent a lot of time doing that, and then said when we start the game, we're going to run that the first two times.
you drew it up, or was it a play
Yeah,
that
well,
already,
we it was
tailored it to Thompson, of course.
It wasn't anything hugely different, but it was just for him, and that was the call, and we were going to get him hopefully in a little curl situation for his little 10, 12-foot shot that he makes.
Money.
Nice shot.
Money.
Nice,
He made it.
Nice
He made it.
15
And
footer,
so, so I said, so we'll call that the first 2 possessions that we have. And so we did. And Reggie and everybody was on board with it, and we ran it the first time, and he screwed it up.
Tank.
And so
He went to the wrong spot, or how did he screw it up?
well, yeah, forgot where he's supposed to go, and then, so okay, we'll run it again, Oh yeah. And he screwed it up again. So I called timeout, and it's funny because he didn't wait for anybody to get on him. He said, "I don't want any more plays. Don't call him a plays for me." And so I said, "Okay,
You got it.
The pressure of being the guy in the play
that
was too much for him.
Oh,
yeah.
he was such a lovable character. All the guys, and he knew, and wisely so. He just he beat him to the punch. Just like, no, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want no more plays. Don't call any plays for me.
I bought a
Love
car
to say.
from he and Harold. They had a dealership that they're involved. I actually bought a
Yeah.
car from them once. Got a good car from
There you go.
Harold Presley and Tank Thompson.
Tank
Tank
Thompson.
Thompson. Yeah, just one other kind of story with Tank. One of the, such a good guy, and he and Joe Klein. That was, at the time Joe and him were on. So we were kind of split in time, and I remember Tank coming. He was a little upset one game. He said, I didn't get as much time as Joe, and I'm playing better. And I said, yeah, that's true. You're absolutely right, And he was really upset about it. And the next day he came up. Well, anyway, I told my wife about it that night. I called and I said, "Yeah, Tank was really upset with me." And she said, "Well, if he's upset with you, you're wrong." Just like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I got to think about it. It's like, yeah, I have to be wrong. He's too good a guy. I mean, he's just not like that. So the next day in practice, I was getting ready to apologize to him, and he came over and apologized to me. I said, "No, wait a minute.
That proves it, yeah.
I get to apologize first. I'm the coach. I was wrong. So you're just a nice guy trying to."
Wow.
And I said, "No, you should be playing more, and you will be playing more because you're playing better." And so I didn't say that's a small.
Yeah.
Small goal there, but
Yeah. So the bar's a little
bar-
lower. Yeah,
bar
you're
not
playing
real.
better than Joe.
So
hey,
Mrs.
no offense.
Reynolds, though, she set you straight, huh? It's like,
she
well,
did. Well, she wasn't about basketball, but she just knew LaSalle.
Yeah.
And she's right. That's what I'm saying.
Awesome.
She was right.
She was right.
So you're kind of apologizing to her right now.
she was right.
yeah, she was right.
We'll just go with that.
Oh, we're back
Very
with you next week at some point.
Okay, get it right.
Yeah.
Monday.
Monday.
Monday,
10
Wednesday,
o'clock. Friday, 10 o'clock.
10 a.m.
That's
Yeah.
the new time.
Yeah.
Set it.
When
Set
we're
it and
live.
forget it.
Of
Yeah.
course, you can with podcasts.
Oh,
you can
these
enjoy it
days,
whenever
yeah.
you want, wherever you choose your
If
podcast.
you subscribe,
Yeah.
if I'm right, and Stone's, monitor this. If you subscribe, then anytime we go live, you get notified and you know. So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You just get notified.
Well, that'd be a great reason to get subscribed, wouldn't it?
You're right, Jerry. You're right.
Yes.
Just like LaSalle. You're right.
So, when is it? Monday?
Monday at 10. Way to
Monday
sell
at
it.
10.
Way
Yes.
to sell it.
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you then. Thanks for being with us today on the Old Fashioned 3.
Thank you for joining the Old Fashioned 3 on Stones Radio Networks. To stay updated on the show, like and subscribe on YouTube, and all shows are available for download on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and of course at stonesradionetworks.com. Follow the show and the gents on Twitter at OL, Fashioned, and the number 3, at Phantom Radio 60, and at Whitey Gleason. This has been a production of Stones Radio Networks.